Alright, people, it's another week, and it's time for another weekly roundup. It is Sunday, September 24th. Another month is almost behind us, and that's kind of crazy. We're in the last quarter of the year 2023, October, November, December, and it's also one of the biggest gaming release times of the year. Though for me personally, Starfield coming out was the biggest game of the year for me personally. Other people, who knows, but so far it's my game of the year for sure. And I'm still playing it. It's been out almost a month, and I've still been playing it every day. I want to get into some news in the video game adaptation space, and I decided that if I'm going to do an adaptation channel, I shouldn't just do game to screen. I can also do screen to game, because shows and movies get adapted into games as well. I figured why not cover that as well, so we're going to get into that after the intro. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, the first one is actually what I just said, that I wanted to start covering things that are being adapted into video games. And just recently, the delightful world of Bluey is coming to life in a new video game adaptation. Now, I don't know Bluey at all. I think I'm kind of familiar with him. It's a beloved animated show about the Healer family, apparently. Produced in Australia, the show has gained international popularity through platforms such as ABC Kids, BBC, and Disney+. The video game titled Bluey, the video game, a brilliant title, is set to release on November 17th. So that's like only in a couple months. So that's a pretty quick turnaround for an announcement to the actual release. So it's unusual to do it that way. Basically, it sounds like the game is pretty much done and they're announcing it now. The Emmy award-winning show follows the adventures of a family of dogs and has captivated audiences of all ages with its charm, humor, and relatable parenting moments. Outright Games, the publisher known for their family-friendly titles like My Friend Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol, has taken on the task of translating Bluey's world into an interactive gaming experience. The game will allow players to explore Bluey's home and iconic locations from the show, while also featuring mini-games inspired by memorable episodes. Some of these mini-games include Keep Uppy and Magic Xylophone. I don't know what any of that means. With a new 4-part adventure voiced by the original cast, players will have the opportunity to unlock rewards such as outfit stickers and new areas to play in. So I'm not really sure what kind of game that is. It kind of just sounds like a Mario Party-ish type game or something where it's like not really a story. I mean, I'm not going to play this when it comes out, but you know, it's cool. Like any new video game coming out for me is great. Like I just love video games, and even if I don't play it, I love it when more things are coming out and people are adapting things into video games and video games into movies and shows. And like I said, I decided that I want to start covering that as well, because why not? It's the adaptation space on both ends. So I'm going to keep doing that. And staying in line with that, there's a new trailer for Takeya Imamura's manga to video game adaptation, which another thing that I have no clue about whatsoever. Omega 6, the video game. I don't know what Omega 6 is, but I already like the title. Legendary Nintendo name Takeya Imamura debut manga is being turned into a video game, in case you missed that announcement, and the first trailer has just dropped at the Tokyo Game Show. So yeah, Tokyo Game Show is on right now, and that's one of the big, I think that's like the last big kind of game show of the year. I should be following that more, because you know, things like that, more announcements come out. Interesting, so it's only coming to Switch and Steam, not coming to Xbox or PlayStation. Omega 6, the video game, sees the 2022 manga being adapted into a text adventure game, but also looks like it will also be combat in the style of turn-based battles. Mura-san is working on the game art direction, which blends the manga style retro pixel art visuals with another Nintendo veteran composer, Shinobu Amayaki, who worked on Wario's Woods and Stunt Rate FX. So yeah, this is part of the trailer. That looks exactly like Baxter Stockman from to me, and that ship, I've seen ships that look exactly like that before. So I don't know. It's not screaming totally original to me, but you know, it still looks kind of cool. Yeah, so it's a very old school looking text adventure kind of game. It looks like something that came out in like the early 90s. But interesting, this manga only came out last year and it's already being adapted. So, things get snapped up and adapted so quickly. That's a good description here. We can't help but look at these grid backgrounds and not think of Star Fox. Of course, Amamura-san was responsible for creating the iconic characters of Star Fox, F-Zero, and was also the art director on Majora's Mask. Didn't know that. Legend of Zelda's Majora Mask. I have a Switch, but I doubt I'll be playing that. Omega 6, the video game, launches 2024 on Switch, and yes, indeed, it has been confirmed for a worldwide release! Exclamation point! Over here on Collider.com, we have a bit more news about Stray, the recently announced feature film adaptation of the hit indie video game. These ads are getting so brutal now; they just force you to watch these video ads, and it's so annoying. Like, I just want to talk about this part, but this fucking ad is right here in front of my face. No, this is not the raunchy 2023 homeward bound satire Strays. First feature film from Annapurna Animation also debuted. Right, so earlier this year, Annapurna Animation released their first animated feature, and it did very well. Thunderous applause, critical acclaim for the graphic novel adaptation and Netflix original Nimona, which tells the narratively gripping and visually stunning story of a young, aspiring supervillain who learns that the science fiction fantasy world they live in is much more complex than they think. Nimona became an instant classic following its streaming premiere, with fans and critics alike praising co-directors Nick Bruno and Ray Quain's film as a groundbreaking trendsetter, both for animation and for LGBTQ stories. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is basically just going on about how great Nimona was, but I've never seen it, so I don't know. However, in addition to developing films and television, Annapurna has also produced several hit video games to its gaming division of Annapurna Interactive. Though primarily focused on indie game development, one game in particular became an unexpected viral smash for the company. The game was 2022's Stray, which put players in the paws of a seemingly ordinary street cat who lives in a futuristic city populated almost exclusively by robots. Though they may sound boring to some, Stray was widely praised for its originality and beauty, even getting nominated for Game of the Year at the Video Game Awards. So Stray is coming to an animated cinema, so I don't know if that means cinema or just Netflix, with several members from Nimona's acclaimed crew set to bring the fan favorite game to life. So there's been no official announcement of when the show will come out. It was only announced earlier this month, so it'll be another year or sometime mid next year maybe. I don't know how long it takes to create animated films. I'm not sure if it's longer or shorter than how long it takes to shoot a show or a film. Also interesting of note, because of the SAG, usually we would say that production on Stray wouldn't be able to start with the ongoing WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike, but Stray is a somewhat unique case. The game that's being adapted here has a pre-existing story and is one with little to no dialogue. Theoretically, the film's animators could get a head start on the film without breaking strike rules. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, so there's no dialogue in the game, so that's a weird kind of loophole. I mean, there's going to be dialogue. Maybe there isn't going to be dialogue. That would be interesting. What does that mean? Does that mean it's not going to be dialogue in the film itself? Who knows? Video games in general have been largely exempt from the strikes, but that may not be the case for much longer. SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher recently promoted expanding the strike's restrictions into video game voice acting. Damn, this strike is going on way longer than everyone is thinking, and it's annoying because in the end, they're just going to give in and give them what they want. Because if not, Hollywood's just going to stay shut down. This comes in the wake of several big titles having SAG-AFTRA members as part of their cast, including J.K. Simmons and John Cena, reprising their roles as Omni-Man and Peacemaker in Mortal Kombat 1. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Those characters are in the new Mortal Kombat game, Omni-Man and Peacemaker, as well as Tony Todd portraying Venom in PlayStation Spider-Man 2. That's kind of annoying. They're just what about video games voice acting? What about voice acting in general? I don't know. Where can you watch Stray? Along with no planned release date, we also don't know the format will be released at this time. Given how big Nimona was, it would make a lot of sense. But there's been no official announcement if it's coming. There's no official announcement what service is coming to when it comes out. Either way, should Annapurna Animation wish for the film to be considered for Academy Award consideration, it will need to have a limited theatrical release at the very least. I wasn't aware that a movie needs to have a theatrical release for it to be considered nominated, because streaming films have been getting nominated the past few years. No, there's no trailer yet, considering it just got announced. Well, there's dialogue right there, so I don't know what they're saying. There's no dialogue. Maybe it's just text and no one saying it. Who knows? Never played it. There's been no casting announced as of yet. What is Stray about? The world of Stray takes place in one where humans have all but disappeared, and it's up to the cat, B12, and the player to find out why that is in this breathtaking, award-winning adventure. Who's making Stray? Annapurna Animation, the same studio responsible for bringing Nimona to life, will be developing the feature film adaptation of Stray. Returning to direct is the Nimona co-director Nick Bruno, who made his directing debut with one of Blue Sky's Animation's final film, Spies in Disguise. The film will be produced by former Blue Sky executive and Annapurna Animation's head of animation, Julia Zachary. I don't know who any of these people are. So yeah, the rest of the article just goes on to talk about what a great year it has been for adaptations, and yes, definitely 2023 will be the year that we all remember as the year where video game adaptations got really good. Alright, so over here on Start Effects. This isn't anything really new or news, it's more of like information from an interview with Greg Mazin that's been online for a while. I've actually watched part of it, or most of it. Maybe I just forgot about this part or missed that part, but apparently Matthew McConaughey was close to having the role of Joel in The Last of Us show. The Last of Us could have been so different. Okay, first off, The Last of Us by HBO is one of the best examples of a decent video game adaptation. Decent, that's kind of a dumb word. I mean, so far it's probably the best adaptation ever. I would say it is. So saying decent is kind of an understatement. We all know that Pedro nailed it as the role of Joel, and he even got nominated for an Emmy, which is pretty crazy, and I hope he wins. But yes, at one point, Matthew McConaughey was considered for the leading role. Before Pedro snagged the role, the entertainment grapevine was abuzz with speculations. During his appearance on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, Craig Mazin confirmed that he did have a little chit-chat with Matthew McConaughey about the role. But Mazin added that it went in deep negotiations. Even with all the McConaughey whispers, Pedro was always the top pick for Joel. According to Mazin, there was a brief hiccup when everyone thought Pedro with Pascal was tied up with other projects. Unsurprisingly, he's probably the busiest actor in Hollywood right now. Or he would be if it wasn't on strike. Pascal's agent called him and said that Pascal might be free after all, and things didn't move fast after that. Pascal got the script head over heels, and the rest is history. Pascal's take on Joel has been nothing short of spectacular. His on-screen bond with Bellaramsey is just amazing. Fun fact, both of them had their moments of glory in Game of Thrones, and they never really met on this show, but it still feels like they've known each other forever. While the idea of McConaughey as Joel was tantalizing, what could have been fans and critics are all praised for Pascal's raw and emotional portrayal. Mazin, looking back at the casting, feels pretty stoked about how things panned out. He's convinced that McConaughey would have rocked it, but he is happy Pascal was eventually able to take on the role. Source, Josh Horowitz on YouTube. So yeah, I mean, I think McConaughey would have been great. He already has kind of like that Texas twang that was part of the character that Pedro didn't really have. He kind of had it, but it wasn't really there. And sometimes it would like fade in and out. If that was my only complaint at all about Pedro's performance, was like, is he from Texas or not? It kind of was like not clear about that with his accent. It was definitely way more clear with Tommy, the guy that played his brother. Alright people, well that's it for this week in video game adaptation news. For the week of September 18th to the 24th, that is all the video game adaptation news that I was able to find on the internet. So why don't you just give me your thoughts down below, like and subscribe and comment on what you think about any recent announcements, if you're excited. If there haven't been any announcements for games that you would love for people to adapt, but don't forget to keep gaming, and thanks for watching.